Hi, I'm Skip Nipper. Welcome to my podcast,
where I tell you about not only Nashville's great baseball history and traditions,
shot to right, a one-hop liner,
but certainly about its past. And you will hear a little bit about its present and future, too.
Yes, he can, and makes the waist-high catch.
There are great stories about Tom Wilson Park, Herschel Greer Stadium, Sulphur Dell, and the players, coaches, and fans who love everything about baseball. And every once in a while, you will get to hear from a special guest who will share their fondness and even passion for the great game.
It's a high fly ball down the right field corner, going way back, hits a lead-off home run.
When I was 10 years old, our dad accepted a position as a traveling salesman in the sporting goods business, covering a large territory. His father-in-law, our mother's dad, had been doing so since the mid-1920s, and our father made a great career out of it with Granddaddy's agency, Jack Waddell and Sons. The organization carried various lines from athletic uniforms to ball caps to socks and even playground equipment. And their sales cases carried as many catalogs as would rival the one Sears published. In 1966, a few years later, as a 15-year-old, I joined a team in Nashville's Babe Ruth League, Knights Drugs. I always enjoyed playing first base through Little League and had a McGregor mitt picked up from Dad's brother's business, Walter Nipper's Nashville Sporting Goods. But the problem with playing for this new team was they already had a first baseman. Well, fortunately, one of the lines Dad sold for was a new company formed when a future Hall of Fame pro retired. For many years, St. Louis Cardinals favorite Stan Musial endorsed Rawlings products, but took on a new endorsement with his name on it, Stan the Man Incorporated. And I was thrilled when Dad came home one night and tossed me a fielder's glove, one for a lefty, just for me. And as I looked over it, he explained how it and all the other gloves under the Stan the Man label were patterned for one of Rawlings' models. And he just happened to have this one in his sample bag. Let me describe it for you. The strap had a red and white patch with a sewn outline of Musial in his batting stance, and Stan the Man Inc. Incorporated, that is, across it. That was great, but there was added excitement. It had Curt Flood's autograph stamped on the inside of the fifth finger. Now, my Stan the Man Curt Flood endorsed glove was very good to me, and I still have it, and it is in as good shape as the last time I used it playing in the field as an 18 or 19-year-old. But 2 seasons before my Babe Ruth League playing days was the first time that I became enthralled with the World Series between the New York Yankees and the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals won the 1964 Classic, and a classic it was. And though a Yankees fan, St. Louis became my National League team as the 7 games were all memorable ones. And I knew the lineup for the Cardinals as well as I knew the Yankees roster. Now, Curt Flood held down center field and earned his first All-Star game that season, which he would repeat 2 more times. He was a 3-time All-Star, and with 3 Gold Gloves already and 4 more in his future, well, he was also a consistent .300 hitter and a key player for the Cardinals back in those days in the 60s. But he was also become a key figure in the sport's labor history by declining to accept a trade to the Philadelphia Phillies after the 1969 season. After failing to gain free agency, he met with the Players Union head, Marvin Miller, a future Hall of Famer too, and they appealed his case to the U.S. Supreme Court. Now, his challenge was unsuccessful, but it united players as they fought against baseball's reserve clause and sought free agency, which ultimately became the norm. Well, shifting gears a bit, as I happen to do from time to time, there is a connection to Curt Flood and Nashville baseball, and not just by me wearing his glove in Music City. But once again, bear with me because it's a special story. Several times a year, I have the opportunity to speak with someone I admire. His name is Drew Edward Gilbert, and better known as Buddy. He was a Nashville Vols outfielder during 3 seasons, 1958, 1959, and 1961, and at 89 years young still lives in Knoxville. And he was selected with the help of many of you to help me determine a 1950s and 1960, 61, and 1963 outfielder for the Hall of Fame for the Nashville Vols. Now, I'm going to assure you that he is about the most pleasant ball player I have ever had the pleasure of knowing or speaking with. But before joining the Nashville Vols, he spent 2 seasons in Savannah in 1956 and in 1957, where the Curt Flood connection comes from, because one of his teammates at Savannah, Cincinnati Reds farm club, just like Nashville, in 1957 was Curt Flood. At that time, he was a 19-year-old prospect who had been playing outfield, but they were testing him at third base for the ball club. Now, author Stuart L. Weiss writes in his book, The Curt Flood Story. Now, this book was published in 2007 by University of Missouri Press. And I quote that Drew Buddy Gilbert, also a Savannah Reds player, an acknowledged white friend from Knoxville, who often brought Flood food when the bus stopped, recalls that though they sometimes joked a bit, Flood wasn't outgoing. And indeed, Flood was so closed up that he did not tell Gilbert where he lived. But undoubtedly, Buddy Gilbert affected Flood, as because Flood was black, he was legally prohibited from eating in white-only segregated restaurants. In 2008, Gilbert told Knoxville News Sentinel reporter Mark Burgess that Flood had mentioned him in a book. And Buddy said, Curt Flood mentioned in his autobiography that in all the years he played baseball, there was one white boy from Knoxville, Tennessee, that always treated him like a man, Buddy Gilbert. And Buddy said, that broke my heart. That's the nicest compliment I think I have ever had in my lifetime. Well, that's not the end of the story. Buddy, the son of an alcoholic father who used profanity, but was raised as a Christian by a loving mother who never uses off-color words in his description of his playing career, and his vibrant laugh, which comes with his often corny jokes, is part of his personality, and it's contagious, as is his love for his neighbors and fellow man. Now, it is important to know that Buddy would take Flood's meal to him when he could not eat in the same restaurant as white players. But you know what Buddy did? Buddy would sit outside with his teammate on the curb or in the bus. And Buddy Gilbert was very good to Curt Flood. I hope you've enjoyed hearing about Curt Flood and his relationship with Buddy Gilbert. As always, I'm grateful that you would listen. If you ever want to see my Curt Flood model ball glove, well, just let me know. I'll take a picture and send it over to you, because it's a great glove. And it's a very proud part of my collection, a personal one. And as always, thank you for listening.